Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Trap Draw podcast. It's Ball Knowers week, baby. We're talking ball, and I got two of my fellow knowers, Mr. Tron Carter and Poosh, Micah Pusho with me. TC, what is good, my man? What's up?
Nothing. We're on quite a run right now here on the Trap Draw, and we're keeping it going with one of the foremost knowers out in the football universe, Mr. Poosh.
Mr. Poosh. Mr. Poosh, it's been a minute. Did you feel like you were getting iced out of some of these Ball Knower episodes?
You know, I get it. Listen, I mean, Sensei Sturm, you guys know what happens. We have a stream with Sensei Sturm, and
Yeah, real quick on that. I was off my phone for the most part the last couple of days. Did a lot of travel, a lot of driving, a lot of golf. Just catching up on texts on the drive back to Jacksonville last night. Solly was driving, and I had 110 text messages on our thread with the three of us and Ball Knower Bob. And virtually every single one of those was just you chuckleheads going back and forth about Jordan Love.
Don't.
I know. No.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just Poosh and Bob, just back and forth. It was unbelievable. 110.
Poosh got a little fresh and challenged Sensei Bob about Jordan Love. He was testing the master.
Which I don't disagree with, but 110.
He got Sensei got a little heated. He called me a moron, I think, once or twice. He
also said quotes. What numbers don't have feelings. I think he said, or numbers don't.
There were some good quotes in there. He also said your mom at one point, in regards to me asking a statistical question. But he's a Liverpool fan. I'm a United fan, so there's already Niners, Packers. There's already been some heat. We had a match when I was in Dallas. It didn't go well for Sensei Sturm, so I think he's still smarting from Man United beating Liverpool. It's been a tough go of things for him, but we always respect Sensei, and it's all just we have to respect ultimate ball knowers like Sturm. So it was just a simple me asking some questions, posing some questions I think everyone had on their mind.
And I think that's all we can do, Poosh. And I think that's what's going to be a lot of this episode. I think we're all going to ask a lot of questions, and we'll see what answers we have. We'll see what answers the listeners have. Before we dive in, I was remiss. Thank you to Mr. Jeezy, through whom all things are possible. Let's clean up some quick housekeeping notes. TC, what a fun chat you had with Matt Ryan. Any lasting things that you feel like you need to say or any takeaways from that episode?
No, I think a lot of people probably need to apologize to Kyle. Poosh, I know you listened to it. He was praising Kyle's scouting, his game planning. He wasn't quite as effusive on his actual play calling, which, hey, I don't necessarily disagree with him. I think sometimes he can get too conservative or too, who better to, evaluate that than Ball Knower Matt. I do want to, just throw a flag on myself for comparing Trevor Lawrence, like the best outcome for Trevor Lawrence being Jared Goff. I think Matt talked me off of that one very smartly. And we've texted quite a bit in the weeks after, the couple of weeks after, and he just kind of made me see the error of my ways on that one. So
okay, all right.
Yeah,
well,
that was tough.
Perhaps Ball Knower Matt will be.
Thank you, Poosh.
Returning to the show sometime.
It was a tough listen.
Hey, real quick on our team draft standings. So through 11 weeks, I have taken a slim lead. I can report I have 43 points.
Whoa.
TC is nipping at my heels with 42.5 points. Poosh, 41 points. And then in the junior ball knower spot is Mr. Neal with 37.5. So
a couple things going on there. Like
left.
Neal, I think Neal being in last place despite his Patriots is pretty wild. And then Randy, you being in first place despite having the last overall pick is also impressive.
Yeah. There are some interest. The Colts were taken in the very last round. That's been a great
My Colts.
addition to your squad, TC. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. A lot of time left. The only other thing I wanted to quickly just touch upon, we talked about it with Sensei Sturm, but guys, I finally got around to watching America's Team on Netflix. Holy shit. I cannot believe it took me that long to get there. I apologize to everybody. I apologize to Bob. Like, what an absolute triumph of storytelling. I think the thing that I was most, I don't know if impressed is the right word. I was shocked that every single person in that documentary, I found myself like really liking at one point or another. Like, there wasn't anybody that I was just totally put off or turned off by, which when we're talking about like mid 90s Dallas Cowboys, I would have thought I would come away like absolutely despising at least a few people, but it's awesome. So if anybody listening, if you haven't for whatever reason watched America's Team on Netflix yet, please do so.
I need to rewatch it. It's even just the staging of the interviews with Jerry, those paintings and everything.
It's so good. I do feel a bit torn on where I shake out on the Jerry Johnson or Barry Switzer. I don't
Jimmy
know
Johnson.
who I'm like
Jimmy Johnson.
Barry Switzer.
more for. You're more for Jimmy?
No, I'm way more for Jimmy. I mean,
Or I said Jimmy
yeah.
Johnson. Yeah.
Barry Switzer was. I mean, I don't think that guy was that great. I
He's
think
a players coach.
He fell into a very, very nice situation with the roster that Jimmy Johnson essentially built, and then just wrote it out.
I think the whole Aikman getting accused of being a racist thing. I never knew any of that.
It's just like
crazy.
What?
Charles
Whoa.
Haley.
Yeah. Oh
Crazy.
my God, the Charles Haley. Yeah. Whew. They don't make them like they used to. Michael Irvin is just an absolute one of one. Like, that guy is unbelievable. So wanted to tie the knot there. Let's thank our title sponsor. That's our good friends at ServPro. ServPro is the #1 brand in cleanup and restoration and is known for making any mess like it never even happened. With over 2,200 locations nationwide, they're faster to any size disaster. ServPro is here to help 24/7. Just call 1-800-ServPro. That's ServPro. Or you can visit servpro.com. Guys, I can report my parents called on ServPro a week or so ago. Yeah, the hot water heater in their basement burst, and they had some flooding in the basement. They truly, like this. I was like, oh my God, you guys got to tell me, like, how was the experience? And they absolutely glowing about the promptness, the attention to detail, the willingness to work on the weekend. And so there you go, ServPro. You don't want to need them, but when you do need them, give them a call.
Randy, I thought you were going to say your dad called him to clean up his mess after his AI music talents.
I've got my hands on the Sigma Nu AI song. We'll have to play that for the next chop session, TC. It's something. Poosh, what are your thoughts on AI music?
Oh, it's absolute shit. But it's soulless. I mean, is it like incredible how the production and the melodies and stuff that they come up with are awesome. Like, you're like, you're like, wow, that's incredible. But there's no soul behind it,
Who's they?
Well, whoever's Randy's dad, I don't know, like whoever's coming up with these songs, for the most part. There's a country artist that was #1 on the Billboard for the first time as an AI artist that just came out. Most of the AI stuff that I listen to is like humorous, comical stuff. That's these fake country songs that are about
saltwater cowboys or
like stuff I wouldn't want to mention
into them
on this podcast, family pod. But yeah, it's not a big fan. I mean, there's ways that you can use AI, I think, in anything. From being a songwriter and a music creator myself, I don't necessarily love the computers taking our jobs. So
took your jobs. No,
Ticker
that's
gerbs.
honestly that's very fair and nuanced, Poosh. That's a little bit more of a sober take than I was hoping for. We'll come back to that on the chop session, TC. I do. Speaking of ServPro, I have a few mea culpas. You guys are free
Please.
to add some. Let me just run through. TC, this just hit our desk this morning. Listener Dan informing us that the Merlin app is not audio only. So I'll apologize for saying it was. Apparently, you can snap pics of birds and it will identify them off of the camera. So that's great. The Merlin app is wonderful.
That's a big one of you to acknowledge, Randy.
Yeah. This one goes back a few weeks now. Our friend Nick Kelly sent this over. TC, I think I mispronounced. It's Federico Pena. You know, of course, when we were doing our power ranking, the Department of Transportation secretaries, I think I said Frederico, but it's Federico Pena. So I wanted
as a
native
Coloradan, Nico, that one probably really chapped his ass.
It did. So I got to be better there. I got to be a little bit better attention to detail. TC, last week's Miami-Toledo football game was an absolute disaster, not only on the field, but Miami's quarterback, DeQuan Finn, has left the team under murky circumstances, to say the best. So it doesn't look good right now in Oxford, and I want to apologize to people for hyping that game and hyping the Red Hawks. We just can't have it.
Yeah, I think I texted you the following morning wondering I didn't watch the game. I was traveling, but wondering what happened. You said he's quit the team.
That's all we know. He's not on the team.
He's training for the NFL draft.
That's the story.
But also, do we need to apologize because he's a sixth-year senior?
Yeah, and he's not going to sniff the NFL. Something stinks. I think there's a lot more to this story.
Suspicious activity going on up there, dude.
I think they're playing tonight, right? They're playing.
They are. Buffalo? They got our Buffalo Bulls up in Buffalo. Big game.
Frisky game. Yeah.
Every game's a big game, but this one more so. And then the final one, just really quickly, Poosh, I don't know if you watched last night, but I want to call on THG to apologize to us, to the listeners. The U.S. men's national team looked fantastic. They beat Uruguay 5-1. THG is a known hater of Coach Parm, and I just feel like he owes us all a statement because that team looked good last night. It was shocking.
They've looked good for a bit now. They're on kind of a run right now, right?
Well, they beat Paraguay as well, and they beat both the Guays, and like those are legitimate teams. I mean, those Uruguay is already. So I don't get a mea culpa pronunciation or pronunciation mea culpa. Uruguay is already qualified for the World Cup out of a very, very difficult qualification zone down in South America. So it's a real team with real players on it. Premier League players that play all over Europe, and that was a thrashing. They scored right off the bat, and they just kept scoring. And Parmigiano, Pochettino, looking like a real deal. I mean, took Spurs to the Champions League final. So
I think it should be noted, Pulisic was not in this camp.
McKennie, Pulisic. Like a lot of their guys were in the squad. Wea, a lot of the kind of like what you consider like the core group of players were not there. So
are we better without him, Poosh? Is that core group, or are they a little soft? I think that's the question we need to be asking.
What's the Kingslayer up to? Is he coaching, or is he ride off into the sunset?
Didn't THG say he was like coaching the Saudi Arabia women's team or something?
Yeah.
I truly have no idea. I feel like he's coaching somewhere though. We always say we got to bring THG back. Like we really don't, but maybe we do, just for a quick update.
Yeah, imagine the difference between Mauricio Pochettino and the Kingslayer, who I don't even know who that guy is. Like
I forget his
trying
real
to Google
name.
him. I forgot his name. Poosh, I want to tee you up for a potential. Just I'm not asking for it, but if you'd like to find it in your heart, Justin Fields. think we've seen a lot from him the last
This is still going on.
month or two. You wanna amend that?
Listen,
one, Rob?
I don't think I ever said Justin Fields was a good quarterback. I think that I said that he could be successful in the right offense, which would probably at this point indicate that
Like
he would
the
just
Eagles?
be running the football only and not throwing it. And maybe in some
Maybe
sort
the
of
Navy?
Taysom Hill-esque, maybe running the triple option.
Is
Or
he
the
in the
single
wrong
wing.
position? Yeah. Should he be an H back?
Maybe Lamar was like, everyone that thought Lamar should have moved to wide receiver, maybe it was really a Justin Fields take that was too early. I mean, once you get him on running around, he's awesome. But it's like when you ask him to throw on time, it doesn't work out. So, I mean, if that's a mea culpa, then sure. But
It's half-hearted at best.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm sorry if I
I
offended.
mean, he's
anybody.
playing for the
Come
Jets,
on.
dude. Like he's playing for the Jets. Like, has
Yeah.
there been a single quarterback that's been successful at the Jets since like
Not
Joe
in a long
Namath
time.
or like Chad Pennington or Testaverde?
Randy, I've got one.
All right.
I know I said this. I kind of clued in on this a little bit last time we all talked, but I need to apologize again to Neil and Vrabel. Patriots are really good, and I said vehemently that they were a year away. That this was kind of everybody was going to be pretty fired up for him, and I thought the hype was a little early. Josh McDaniels and Vrabel and Drake May, and just generally speaking, that team is so well coached and well positioned. They're going to be so good for the next decade. And then we'll get into that in some of our topics as well. But I also want to just apologize for I drafted the Raiders in our fifth round of 8 rounds. I'd like to apologize. I wish I had that one back. The Raiders are rancid. And for them to draft Ashton Genty and then not even be able to even consider running the ball is pretty damning. So,
Do you think this is the end of the line for Peter?
I think it might be.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they do because it's a weird year
sad.
to be bad too. Because there's there's a lot of really bad teams. Like the floor is low and it's pretty wide. A lot of 6-2 or 2-6, 2-7, 2-8 kind of deal. So it's going to be kind of scratching and clawing to get even a top 5 pick. Like you could go 3-14 and have the 6th pick this year, I think.
Poosh, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, just in response to the Patriots, I definitely think Drake May is real deal. But if you look at who they played this year, they're 9-2 at this point. This is who they beat. They lost to the Raiders opening week. Then they beat the Dolphins, lost to the Steelers, beat the Panthers. They did beat the Bills, okay? Saints, Titans, Browns, Falcons. They beat the Bucks, injured Bucks, and then they beat the Jets. It's like a who's who of like the worst teams in the NFL.
Totally. I think even if they were 7-4, just from having watched them and how
they're
easy
definitely
it
a
is
wave
on offense, they're just they've got matchups galore. Stephon Diggs knows how to play wide receiver. He's a dog. Hunter Henry's a mismatch. Travion Henderson's coming on. They're a little bit banged up on defense right now, but they're real, I think. And
they're
they're
the
just
best
scratching
run
the
defense
surface.
in the NFL. So I think the run defense really solidifies that side of the ball, and then the offense is good. I mean, they're really doing it the right way with McDaniel and knows how to really. I mean, he's one of those, like you said. I think you said the other week. I think McDaniel might just be the ultimate. Never should have been a head coach and just should have stayed a coordinator guy. And they got Drake May. I mean, he's making it work. And it's definitely working. But
it's fun to watch.
I will say I'm still a little skeptical of that team as far as once they get into the offs. Yeah, just because.
Well, let me jump in because this is a great segue. The first segment we have on our agenda is examining the current playoff picture. So thank you to ServPro. The mea culpas. TC, I think I laughed when Neil selected the Patriots at high, so I will join you in apologizing to Neil as well. Thank you to
Neil loves
ServPro.
dudes too. Like he loves Dan Campbell. He loves Vrabel.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just
Vrabel is a
wants,
dude. He's such a culture guy.
yeah, like on Thursday night, just watching that game against the Jets, he's going over, pumping up the guys, but not doing it in like a corny way or a like a meathead. There's substance there. And I think I was wrong on Vrabel when he was with the Titans, just because I think I just let my hate of the Titans or
The
color
uniforms,
it. Yeah.
some of the personnel, it
Yeah.
was bad.
There was some
there in
Buck Tech hate mixed in there
Nashville.
too.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the current playoff picture. Just in case, I'm sure everybody knows the standings, but just a quick refresher. We'll start in the NFC. Currently, the number 1 seed are your TC's Philadelphia Eagles. 2 seed, the Los Angeles Rams. The Bears are leading the North. They're currently in that 3 position. The Bucks are your 4 seed, leading the South, and then the wild card goes the Seahawks, then the Packers. And then the Niners are holding on to that last playoff spot ahead of the 6-4 Detroit Lions, and the 6-5 Carolina Panthers are the 2 teams in the hunt. Over in the AFC, it's the Broncos, my Broncos, out front at 9-2, just ahead of the Patriots. Would be the 2 seed right now. The Colts at 8-2 are your 3 seed. The Steelers leading the North are the 4 seed, and then the Bills, Chargers, Jaguars have that order in the wild card, with the Texans, the Chiefs, the Ravens all at 5-5 and considered in the hunt there. So, boys, the first question I had, maybe let's just start here because we're talking Patriots. Are the Patriots better than the Bills? Is this a changing of the guard in the AFC East, do you think?
I think the Patriots are better than the Bills, and I think that's as much a commentary on the Bills as it is on the Patriots.
It's scary if you're a Bills fan, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're thinking, man, did we miss our window? And we've got a bizarrely constructed defense and just some retreads there, feels like a little bit. And wide receiver room feels like it's a disaster. Keon Coleman getting benched and them spending that money on Josh Palmer coming over from the Chargers. It's just I don't know. It's just weird vibes, man. It's like it's a little bit like Afghanistan after the Soviets left. The Mujahideen.
For sure.
Sean McDermott, they're gonna have to band together, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly.
So I'll say this for the Bills. They have, I would say, good wins over the Ravens and Chiefs. Like, I know both those teams aren't currently in the playoffs, but I think I believe in both of them, which is another discussion maybe. They still have Josh Allen, who is very good, but it still feels like it's just Josh Allen and a bunch of kind of mediocre weapons. I think the Patriots' upside is a lot higher looking at the moment than the Bills is. And I think, TC, you're right. Like, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm kind of like, oh my God, we just had this whole window and we didn't even make, like, let alone win a Super Bowl. We didn't make a Super Bowl. I'd be very worried, I think.
I think that what the Patriots have is just way more sustainable. I think it's, having one thing that you do on defense that is elite, right? Stop the run. That's one thing that you can hang your hat on in the playoffs, especially in the playoffs when, it's physical football, running the ball, controlling the ball is paramount. The Buffalo Bills, I don't understand what they do, what Sean McDermott does. Like, that defense sucks. It's bad. Like, they get run on.
Joe Brady comes out with some weird calls on the offensive side too.
It's honestly the Buffalo Josh Allen's, and that's what it is. And he runs around, he makes incredible plays. He's probably the best single player in the NFL right now with Myles Garrett. And he's just playing at such an insane level that he's able to paper over all these holes. But when that gets into the playoffs, like, that's not sustainable. Like, you're not going to win 3 games in a row or 2 games in a row, 40-30, 42-38 or whatever they're winning. They have to tighten up on defense or they're going to go out. Like, it's just not sustainable. The Patriots have a better recipe for winning in the playoffs, which I'm kind of contradicting myself because I'm saying that I'm a little suspect of them, but at least compared to the Bills, I think they're better suited for winning.
Like, I think Travion Henderson's going to run down their throat. He runs so, like, I think he's getting his feet under him. He's starting to run confidently and, good pass blocker. Like, Josh McDaniels is going to pick that defense apart when they play. When are they playing again?
December 14th. So that's 14.
Week 15. Sorry, week
15.
15. And it's going to be at New England. So, yeah, it feels like, so the Bills have won the AFC East 5 years in a row. I gotta think if they don't get to like at least the AFC Championship game, do you think they make a switch at head coach? Like it feels weird to say that, but it's just, I'm not sure as currently constructed, and we haven't seen this team evolve. Like something's got to give.
I guess who would you hire?
If I was them, I think I would go out and just go get maybe the defensive coordinator from the Chargers, or
Minter.
Maybe get Minter, or go get like a Mike McDonald, like disciple guy, somebody off his staff, and just try to get somebody that's running something defensively that's a little bit better. I don't know, like a little bit more modern. Seems like McDermott hasn't been an elite defensive coach for the entire time he's been in Buffalo. Like maybe they had one or two decent defenses in the time that they've been there, but the roster has just been like incomplete, it feels like, consistently.
Which I think at that point too, it feels like Brandon Beane, the GM's got an unlimited supply of goodwill for identifying, drafting, developing Josh Allen. But at what point does that run out too?
Right. And like, why can't they? I guess they had Diggs, and that ended poorly. But it just seems like they're struggling to find consistent receivers. And I'm more surprised they haven't really leaned into Cook and just like a power run game.
Yeah.
It feels like every now and again they're kind of leaning that way, and then it feels like they get away from. I don't know. I can't wait to watch the end of the season and how those teams track.
I feel like we should just have the Bills and the Chiefs play like a side game. Like, all right, like one of you is done after this. Like you just got to step aside for a couple of years.
Well, that's what brings me to my next question. Poosh, are the Chiefs in trouble? And how much do you believe in the Broncos? It's kind of a two-sided question,
Yeah, I don't believe in the Broncos, and mainly because I don't really believe in Bo Nix. The defense is obviously elite. That's going to keep them in games, and I believe that they can probably make a run just because of the defense. And if they end up with home field advantage, it is an advantage at Mile High. But Bo Nix is such a weird player. I don't really see it with him. I mean, he tends to make a big throw at the end of the game after struggling for the majority of the rest of the game. They had a decent running game. I mean, Dobbins is out for the year now. They're going to lean on Harvey. It's like another one of those kind of weird teams, and they seemingly have a lot of weapons on offense, but they don't churn out points like you'd kind of want them to. Cortland Sutton has been mid at best this year, after being kind of what you think would be your one, wide receiver one this year, and kind of an A guy. I don't know. I don't necessarily believe in the.
Let me ask you this then: is this because they've won so many close games of late? The last 3 wins that have all been by 3 points for the Broncos. Yeah. Like, is this? Do you put more stock in Sean Payton just knows how to win football games, or is this like you guys just have a really good defense and you happen to be winning some 1-score games? Because I really don't know the answer to it. I'm like you, Poosh. Like, I watch Bo Nix and like, God, he looks awful for most of these games. And then he'll have, like the Giants game, right, where they came all the way back in that fourth quarter. He can look good at times, but certainly not consistently. I mean,
the Giants game felt more like a Dable, like Giants meltdown than it did, a Broncos masterclass. But I think if I were the Broncos, I would be terrified of seeing a team like the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. Like, if you somehow were to draw the Chiefs or somebody, you're seeing Mahomes, you're seeing one of those teams in the playoffs, I would, even though they've been successful against them in the regular season, I think that would be a very, very scary team to see in the playoffs. They just are. I mean, the Chiefs just find a way to get in there, and then they just turn it up a notch. And it's like Andy Reid is going to game plan it. Spagnuolo is going to game plan it. It's funny because I think the Chiefs, like this feels like the Chiefs roster this year is better than it was last year, and they're somehow worse. I think maybe that's just some regression, and maybe they're not getting all the calls that they normally get. But
well, I think what's
I'm still a little worried
fascinating
about them.
that loss that the Chiefs have to the Jaguars, literally, like I think they're in a little bit of trouble of missing out on the playoffs. Quite honestly,
I think
they're for sure they're for sure in trouble. Yeah, they're definitely.
I was listening to BallKnower Nate last night. His Football 301 podcast I think it's like by far the best football podcast out there. So shout out to him. I was just nodding in agreement with about 3 or 4 different things he said, but he was talking about the Chiefs, and I truly, like, I'm not going to believe that the Chiefs are dead until the autopsy is done, because there's just, you still have Mahomes, you still have Andy Reid. Obviously the running back room is weird, but like, Pacheco runs hard when he's healthy. I hate their wide receivers, Hollywood Brown and the guy they drafted from Texas.
Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy.
Rashi
Rice. Just fast, fast little beater guys. But I just, at some point, like, the Chiefs just aren't going to go away. And I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs. Unfortunately, they're definitely getting less calls. Like that study that some
UTEP.
university, UTEP did, that like they're getting so many more, defensive, pass interference and roughing the passer calls and all of that. But man, it's just like, and they've got Spags and they've got Andy Reid. They're going to figure out a way to scheme it up. And, but like by the same token, I don't trust the Broncos at all. I feel like the Broncos offense isn't dissimilar to like the Panthers offense at this point with, I think those are the comps, and I think the Panthers defense is getting a hell of a lot better. Obviously they're one's in the AFC, one's in the NFC, but I just think, I think the Dobbins injury is a much bigger deal too. The Chargers look dead in the water in that division. Obviously the Raiders stink. So it's just a matter of, I think the Chiefs are going to maybe not get right, but like they're going to win a wild card game. And
they don't have a ton of margin for error here over the last 7 weeks. I think I'm like if the Chiefs are in the playoffs, it's going to be hard to pick against them getting out of the AFC. I really think, but yeah, the best case for everybody is for them just to miss the playoffs entirely.
Yeah, if I'm the Jags and the Chargers, I'm afraid of the Ravens and the Chiefs kind of making that late season move and getting hot, because it seems like, the Jags getting that big win over the Chargers. The Chargers definitely look like they're a team in free fall just because of the injuries.
I think the Chargers are fucked.
Yeah.
That offensive line looks so bad.
Yeah, it's bad. They're too injured.
Yeah. You can never count Ball out, though. All right, well, let's flip it over to the NFC. My next question is, the Eagles roster just is unbelievable. The defense has been playing lights out. Do the Eagles even need more offense to win another Super Bowl? Like, sometimes I like watching that Lions game what was that, Monday night or Sunday night? Sunday night. I'm like, I'm not sure they need anything more from this offense. I really don't. I like the defense and the roster is that good. It feels like, but I'm sure they're going to get in a game where they have to score some points.
I think Hurts is going to have to run the ball more, right? Because I think people are trying to kind of make him.
They do look a lot better when he's running.
Yeah, everything flows off of that. And if I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still like, I think all the stuff we've said about Hurts is like coming true, manifesting. But like you said, like the defense is unbelievable. And honestly, like Bigsby looked good, even coming in and spelling Saquon. I think
Mm.
that's a big thing, like, because that's probably their biggest risk is like a Saquon injury, or an injury along the offensive line there. But yeah, I don't know. The AJ Brown thing's weird too. Of just, it's,
I was gonna say, I almost think their biggest risk is just internal turmoil and almost mutiny. And I I don't know, Poosh. Like I sympathize with what AJ Brown is saying, but there's a large part of me that's like, man, you guys just won a Super Bowl and you're in first place in the NFC. Like, you just gotta kind of keep your mouth shut right now.
Well, I think that they're maybe one of those teams that kind of they get fueled by the drama a little bit. It seems like the last few years they've had at some point during the season they have this like in-house turmoil, and then they bond together over it, and then they make a run. It happened last year when they started off this year they have gotten off to a better start. The defense is good. I mean, that's the best defense in the NFL. Let's just say what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell, I was super high on him when he came out.
Toledo,
He's
baby.
real deal. Like, that guy's is probably like one of the 3 best cover corners in the league. And then DeJean is a great as a slot. Like, he's an elite slot, perfect for the slot. He'll probably transition to a safety later on. But they just have everything working. The D line's obviously awesome. Nakobe Dean's playing really, really well.
Yeah.
Bond, obviously. So they have everything you want on defense, and they're shutting down
Jihad
high-powered
Campbell.
offenses. Jihad Campbell, dude. They drafted well. What can you say? It's how he's good at what he does. They do have injuries on the offensive line. Lane Johnson is out for, I think, 4 to 6, which is going to be interesting. And then Juergens is injured as well. I'm not sure how long he's out for, or if he's out. But if they lose the key, the center and the right tackle, that changes things for sure, at least in the next few weeks. They are going against a revamped Dallas interior with Quinnen and Kenny Clark, and with no Juergens, that could pose a little bit of an issue. I think you're just like you said, you're just going to see Hurts is going to have to run, and we all know here in the BallKnowers that Jalen Hurts is not going to beat you by sitting in the pocket and dicing you and reading the defense and doing that whole deal. He's playing on easy mode, one read, 2 reads at the most, second read at the most, or run. He throws a good deep ball, and he throws an out. You don't ask him to throw across the middle of the field. And with no AJ Brown, I think this team, like, they really need to get AJ Brown involved, because he's the one guy that really is tough against man. Otherwise, teams are just going to man him up, and it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, against the Lions, it was just slant after slant after slant. I do think these next 2 games for the Eagles are going to be fun to see how their defense does in Dallas, like you said, Poosh, against a really good offense. And then they get the Bears at home the day after Thanksgiving. I think that's a sneaky, interesting game.
I think Fangio is going to put Caleb in a blender, dude. It's going to.
I do too. But that's kind of more like, ooh, Ben, what do we got for that one? I was shocked how bad Goff looked and just how lost he looked on Sunday.
Outdoors in the cold Philly night, that's not his environment. He needs to be in the dome.
It's a real football stadium too. You know what I mean? Just like big.
Yeah.
Like there in Baltimore, I think, are both.
Yeah.
Well, let's go out to the NFC West. That's kind of the most competitive. At least 3 teams kind of right in the hunt. I don't know most competitive, but it's certainly a good division. Talk to me. How do you handicap that one, TC? Obviously, the Rams are leading the division right now. Do you think they will continue leading that division, or does Kyle have a chance? Do the Seahawks have a chance?
I think everybody has a chance. I think the Rams are a clear cut above. They put Darnold in a blender. But I think there's some fascinating stuff to play out here over the next few weeks. You got week 18, Seahawks and Niners are playing. That'll be a good one. And then you got Seahawks Rams week 16 on Thursday night. That's like the best Thursday night game of the year. Yeah, I think Chris Shula is going to start getting some head coaching, rumblings. for him, and I think Stafford's tough to bet against at this point too. Like, but looking at it, the Niners play Carolina, Cleveland, and Tennessee the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They're Pearsall should be, he was kind of a decoy last week, but should be coming back, to full strength here. Niners are banged up, but like Salah coming back has been massive. It just seems like, Brock's getting back up to speed. So I think in my mind, I don't know. It's like it's almost too close to call, but I think the Rams have the edge just because love that defensive front and the McVay Stafford. I don't trust Kyron Williams. Like I always feel like he just makes an outrageous mistake at the wrong time. But between Nakua, getting healthy and then Devontae Adams, like that plus the McVay scheme and Stafford just playing the best ball of his career. It's tough to bet against, man.
I'll give Shanny some flowers. They've won every game they really should have won thus far, and so kudos to the Niners.
It's kind of the opposite of the last few years.
It has been a little bit, yeah. But like when you look at point differential, right? The Rams are at plus 100, the Seahawks are at plus 101, and the Niners are at plus 9. So I do think there's a bit of a gap between the Rams and Seahawks and Niners, but yeah, I mean the Niners are probably going to win 11 games and make the playoffs, and we'll see. But I'm so impressed with what like I remember, was it last year, the end of 2 seasons ago, where we were talking about are the Rams just going to blow it all up? Is McVay going to walk away? And they've managed to rebuild this thing on the fly. Is really, really impressive to me.
Yeah, the defense I think was hitting on Verse and Fisk, and and those are massive hits, and
yeah,
they've been able to really revamp the defense on the fly, and I think that was big. Obviously, getting Devontae Adams free agency.
They have the Falcons first rounder for next year,
which is probably going to be a top 10 pick. Yeah,
I hated that trade when I saw that. I was like,
we'll get to the Falcons. Don't worry.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the Niners are actually kind of, they're following what they're trying to do. What the Rams did right now that was what I don't know if it was stated Arthur. I don't know if it was stated, but it was, I think behind the scenes, they were looking at the Rams and going, well, how did they just kind of revamp on the fly when it seemed like they were in the midst of a rebuild and having to blow it up? Stafford was talking about retirement. There's all these things happening. His back is not great. And then for them to kind of look like, maybe the best overall team in football right now, in my opinion, I think they are.
I agree.
I think they're very scary right now. They do everything well.
The only thing they don't have is a home field advantage.
Yeah. Which they haven't needed. I mean, they don't really need. They won a Super Bowl, without a home field advantage, and I mean, they're just a good team. They're really well coached. The roster is built nicely. The defense is good. The offense is obviously excellent. So yeah, I'm very scared of the Rams this year. In the NFC West, the Seahawks, they don't scare me quite as much, just because I think we saw what Darnold,
I know,
kind of has that gene in him.
Pumpkin watch, as or Nate calls it.
He had a jump throw interception that was just like it was either the third or the fourth one that was absolutely puzzling. He just tried to do way too much. And I mean, honestly, they were still somehow even with 4 interceptions, they still had an opportunity to win that game, which is crazy because the Rams pinned them on the 1. So, if they start at the 25 or whatever, that's a different game. So yeah, teams. But the Niners, we beat the Rams, we beat the Seahawks. Obviously, the Rams came back and kind of took it to us in the last game. But we still have to play the Seahawks. That's going to be a big game. We play them at home. It's going to be interesting to see how that game turns out. The Niners are obviously very, very injured and very, like, the defense is just a shell of what it was at the beginning of the year. So it's going to have to be an offensive masterclass by us for us to do any sort of work at towards the end of the year. But I'm much more of a believer in the Rams than the Seahawks.
All right, the NFC North, we got to touch on the Bears. It also has three teams that are right there: the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions, of course. I still think the Lions best is the best in the division. I don't know if you guys feel differently. I think the Bears are the team that I think the least of. I think they've won some close games and beat some bad teams, which is great for them, but I don't really believe in the Bears. And then the Packers are an enigma. I think, Poosh, this was some of what you were getting into it with Bob about, but just like who actually, like what is Jordan Love? And, you know, with Tucker Kraft, torn ACL, it's just, God, I just don't. They're so Jekyll and Hyde to me. I can't figure out the Packers, but I do still believe in the Lions. I think the Lions are the best team in that division.
Yeah, I think Josh Jacobs being out, like, yeah, I mean, Poosh, like, they haven't replaced Tucker Kraft. Josh Jacobs being banged up now, got issues on the offensive line, and I think Christian Watson's like making a little bit of a leap right now. But still, it's just I've never been able to figure out these LaFleur coach teams, and I'm not about to start now. It's a bizarre deal. Like I think I'm all in on Ben Johnson, despite, you know, and Caleb looks good despite his just perpetually shitty body language and facial expressions. And they're starting to get Luther Burden involved, and the run game is looking good. But they're about to get go into a blender. They got, you know, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, then Packers again, then Niners, and then Lions. Like they got a tough road ahead of them. Like give me the Lions all day long in that division.
Yeah, I think it has to be the Lions right now, just based on health. I would say the Packers would have a shot if they weren't so banged up. Losing Elgton Jenkins, who's been like the lineman that's played every position on that line over the last few years. He's played tackle, played guard, and he's playing center, I think, this year. Losing him is big. And, you know, this is part of the argument that I had with Sensei, was that my thing with Jordan Love is like, yes, okay, if I look at it, he has played well all year. You know, I think
the stats say he has.
The stats say, at least the stats say he has. Yeah. And, you know, my eye test, you know, we watched the game when I was in Florida with TC, and like I was pointing out, like, what bothers me the most about his game is that it feels like he fades back on every single snap, and he throws off his back foot constantly. It's just like, eventually that kind of stuff, like, yeah, when it works, it's awesome, and it seems to work a lot for him because he has a crazy arm and can make things happen. But eventually, when you get into the playoffs, that stuff will burn you, and it has burned him in the past, and it's just not sustainable. So that bothers me when I watch Jordan Love, and that's just eye test stuff. That's not stuff that shows up on the stat
That's
sheet.
what my guy Dave, the Uber driver in Green Bay, was saying. Yeah.
And then Poosh throws this over to Sturm, and Sturm brings it immediately back to Purdy, and he starts calling the 49ers of a couple of years ago the Monstars.
Yeah, I mean, because he dropped EPA on me, and I was like, because Jordan Love is leading the NFL in EPA. Okay, well, you know, and not to bring this back to Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy led the league in EPA 2 years ago, and we listen. Sensei was big enough to apologize on that take, and I'm just not a believer in that as a sustainable way to play quarterback. That's just my personal philosophy, okay? And I think the way that the Lions play, their defense is awesome. They're physical. They're big up front. I know I've shit on Jack Campbell. He's playing very well. I didn't think he deserved to be the pick at where he was in the draft, but he's playing well.
They just line up and hit you.
I love the McNeil pick. Ali McNeil. I love
Fabio looking dude is good too. What's that guy's name? Anzalone.
Yeah, Alex Anzalone. Yeah. He's good.
And then, they got beef up front. They just line up like 4-3. They play, they play up on the corners. I love it.
And Gibbs is insane. I mean, Gibbs is one of those guys where it's like you take a running back in the first round and you're not regretting it at all because he's such a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, he can
I
take
will
it to the house
say,
literally anytime.
watching it the other night when Jameson Williams got that excessive celebration penalty, I was like, dude, you can't. Like, you can do that when you're playing the Saints or even the Vikings at this point. You can't do that against the Eagles on,
Like, we can't slide down the field goal post. Like, we just at least save it for Christmas, you know? I was right there with you, TC. I'm like, I love that they're getting Jameson more involved, but he is
with his
a
track record
liability.
of
Yeah.
the gambling, just some poor decisions made along the way.
Well, you worry about Detroit having to go outdoors, having to go back to Philly or having to go to Green Bay or something like that.
I wish we could just mix it all up. Just throw it all in like a blender this year and like say AFC, NFC doesn't exist. Like Detroit, you're going to Buffalo and you guys are going to play off and then,
Yeah.
That's
all right. Let me jump in here. I'm going to thank another sponsor and then we'll keep moving. Rhoback activewear, folks. Fall golf is here. Robach is ready. Vests, hybrid jackets, hoodies, you name it. Robach has it. Let me introduce you to Robach's new Pace Q-Zip. All right. The fabric, it's incredible. It's soft, stretchy, insanely comfortable. It's got a nice custom metal zipper, rib collars, cuffs, hem, and an elevated look. Think sweater, but more comfortable. Haven't been able to take this piece off. Second, the Robach Fulton hybrid jacket. I think people are sleeping on this one a little bit. It's as simple as that. It's a great lightweight insulated torso with smooth stretch sides and sleeves, easy to swing in and comfortable for everyday wear. And then finally, the Robach Delta pants are our favorite pants. They have a really nice stretch waistband to give you a little extra room and comfort, but still maintain the perfect fit. The fabric is awesome, and they maintain a great look for everyday wear on and off the golf course. So if your fall fit needs a refresh, now is the time. Head to Rhoback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. Use code TRAP, T-R-A-P, for 20% off your first order through the end of this week. Q-zips, jackets, pants, whatever you need, Robach has you covered. All right, guys. I think there's more stuff, obviously, we can talk about, but I want to get into our next segment because I think we'll eventually touch on more of the playoff teams and certainly some non-playoff teams. What I asked you to do was to come with 3, 4, 5, however many it is, things that we've learned thus far this year, things that you are very confident that you have learned this year. And so I say we just go around the horn. Poosh, why don't you lead us off? What's one thing that you have definitively learned thus far?
Well, I was, we've kind of touched on it, a few of these things, one of them being Drake May being real deal. I have to give in. I think that he's definitely like a real deal, but I want to pivot and go to
real quick. Would you put him, where would you slot him in kind of quarterback rankings? Like, is he in that
you put him above
tier?
Herbert?
Or
is he knocking on the door? Yeah.
I would put him above Herbert personally. That's just my personal, because I don't, listen, I'll give a little bit back on Herbert because he's really tough. He's toughing it out. He is an incredible, like, prototype, type quarterback. But so is Drake May. But Drake May's like the same thing, but it just seems like he's a little bit more under control. I mean, maybe that's partially the offense that he's in, maybe it's the coaching, but I don't know. That would be a legitimate conversation. Like, if you're going to start a franchise day one between May and Herbert, I would. There's not much between them to me. Like, from what I've seen out of May,
3 more years of cheap play.
I mean, contract aside, like May, just to me, he can run. Like, he's just as athletic. He can run. He's big. He has a cannon. He seems like he might even be more accurate. And I also just like the way that he throws the ball I don't love the Herbert 3/4 thing. I just never have like aesthetically loved that. So just in the way that the ball kind of comes out of Drake May's hand, I just like that better. So for me, I probably would take Drake May right now, just from what I've seen so far. Obviously, I mean, that's, some
I
people
think
would probably hate
Herbert
on that, but
shrinks in big moments too.
yes, I mean, we've seen it.
We've seen it.
We haven't seen May in
We
like the
haven't seen
biggest
May.
moments yet. So fair enough.
But like I've been impressed with May's accuracy and touch and like the ability to like take speed off or layer one in as well. Some of that scheme, some of that stuff getting schemed up or him knowing exactly where the ball's going, but you can't fake that.
Well, here's a question: if we go back to the draft, where
I was going to
Caleb,
ask this.
Jaden Daniel, Drake May, what order are we drafting them now? Like, are we still picking Caleb 1, or are we taking Jaden first? Or are we taking?
I don't think
May's
Caleb's
first.
1 at all. We were so high on Jaden Daniels last year for good reason. The shine is off him a bit this year.
I think some of that's just bad
situation,
like weird roster management.
Yeah,
like pushing their chips in weirdly early on a roster that I think there was some fool's gold there.
Yeah, way too old.
But I guess the questions on Daniels was: is he nebbish? Is he small? I think I leaned to Drake May for maybe those reasons. Drake is just more of the he's the prototype, and I feel like I'm totally abandoning Jaden because I was so high on him.
I mean, what we did see, we'd have seen, between the three of them, what we did see was Jaden Daniels taking a team to the NFC Championship game, and playing at a really high level in the playoffs, which is we haven't seen the other guys do yet. So
putting the team on his back.
Yeah, that was some. He played unreal down the stretch. Like
I'm going Drake, Jaden, then Caleb. I just don't. I don't like Caleb. I just don't like him.
Yeah, no, neither.
Yeah, I get down with that. All right, well, let me give you one thing I've learned because I think the Bears have a long-term QB problem. I think I could see them getting off Caleb as soon as this offseason. I think that the record's good. I like Ben Johnson. But you look at the games, and I think they're being held back at the quarterback position. And I don't think Ben Johnson is going to want to – I don't believe he thinks Caleb is the long-term answer.
Wow. Love that.
Randy, I'll go straight in because that leads right into one of the things I think we've learned this year is that Trevor ain't it. And I think Liam and Baselli and Gladstone know that too. I think they've seen enough and are I think you can win with him, but I don't think you're going to win because of him. That makes sense. And I don't, I know there's kind of it'd be painful, especially because we don't hold our first rounder next year. But I do think that you can build a really they ran the hell out of the ball against the Chargers last week. I think that's the intent. That's the priority for Cohen's staff is, hey, we want to control both sides of the line of scrimmage. We need to beef up that defensive line. But man, I think that we need some dogs in the secondary, especially at safety. But man, I think that they need, I don't think they need someone to take over a football game at quarterback. So I think it's something that they can live with the next couple of years until they get that. Seems like they've got an off ramp after next season to either trade him but there's some lemons out there just between Trevor, Tua, and Kyler. And I watched the Clemson Louisville game the other night for some reason. It was like watching a high school game, watching Clemson. They're clearly the more talented team. They've got just like a dude at number 8 at running back. And Klubnik, watching him over the last few years, there's an absolute like I wouldn't touch anybody coming from Clemson as a quarterback with a 10-foot pole because I think Dabo is reverse developing those guys. It's just layering them.
The old
with
Ohio
tissue.
State. It's the old Ohio State scarlet, pun intended, I guess, scarlet letter. I was going to ask you, TC, what if the Cardinals call up the Jags and say, hey, you want to switch quarterbacks, Kyler for Trevor? I
would do that tomorrow just because I think Kyler's got a lot less guarantees baked in there over the years 2, 3, 4 of that deal. And it seems like I was thinking about the same thing with the Dolphins, right? Like, would you do that if you were the Dolphins? Would you do that if you were the Carolina Panthers, right? All right, you know what? You want to flip-flop Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence.
That's
But I don't think I would do that if I was any of those teams. Shit, do you do, hey, if you're the Vikings, would you say, we have a roster built to win now? We'll give you JJ McCarthy, or, if you guys just want to totally start over at quarterback, don't even have to toss this first rounder kind of thing. On the flip side, I do think Liam Cohen's a dude. I really like what I've seen from him. He doesn't get too down. He doesn't get too high. The way that they came back out and played that Chargers game last week was said something to me about temperature in that locker room, and they don't have all their players in place, and there's a lot of stuff that needs cleaned up. But at the end of the day, I think that he's the right guy to do it. And, it's not like he's going to cycle through an offensive system every 3 years, losing quarterbacks. Like, if Grant Udinski leaves, it's still Liam calling the plays, right? And I think that's valuable. And I think it's, the next couple of years, I think is probably, seems like there's less offensive guys in the kind of waiting in the wings from a coaching perspective, just because so many guys have gotten hired and cycled through the last few years. So,
Poosh, let's come back to you. What's another thing you've learned this year?
Well, JJ McCarthy is not the answer at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Vindicated there.
We were 100% vindicated with that one. I
tried to talk myself into him, and they're in such a weird spot, right? Where the Vikings are like, they're trying to win now, but they can't push his development off any longer.
It was a tough because, in retrospect, Sam Darnold, moving off of Sam. I mean, at one point they had Sam Darnold and Vanilla Vic in the building.
Yeah.
And now they have neither, and they have JJ McCarthy, who is not good. I mean, I had nobody wants to hear about my fantasy league, but I had a huge fantasy implications in that game.
Turning this episode off right now.
I had to waiver for JJ McCarthy, so I was forced to watch that game. And it was the most frustrating watch I think I've had all season, just watching him, because we know KOC is legit, right? We know he's a legit schemer, play caller, and it was just McCarthy just absolutely blowing it for 3.5 quarters. He made one drive at the end of the game and scored, but other than that, it was terrible, inaccurate, doesn't see the field, just misses wide open throws, and you can tell the guys are getting frustrated up there. So it's what do you do at this point? Do you have to go get a veteran, or do you draft again? Because you can't ride into next season with JJ McCarthy unless something drastic happens towards the end of the year, which I highly doubt is going to happen. I mean, do you go looking at a Jimmy G, try to pull Jimmy G out of the Rams? Do you try to pull Mac Jones from the 49ers for a pick?
Ride Joe Flacco for a year next year,
I think if you're going to fail, you fail early with that roster. You don't want to, because by the time you ride it out, you're either going to lose Flores to another head coaching position.
I mean, he could go next year. Yeah.
And then, and then you're Justin Jefferson. When you see Justin Jefferson slam his helmet on the sideline, he's a pretty well-adjusted, optimistic, good team player, dude. That says something, right?
Yeah, and there's weapons up there. There's weapons. I mean, those 3 receivers are good. Naylor, Addison, obviously Justin Jefferson. Those are legit guys.
I feel like Flores is an interesting name if the Bills move on from McDermott.
Yeah.
Just
division
because division experience, knows Vrabel really well, really good defensive mind. I that just hit me that'd be an interesting one.
Yeah. And you don't really, the offensive coordinator may not be quite as, you don't need to bring in some crazy system with Josh Allen. It's let's get back to basics and do the little stuff right, and then let him freelance.
Yeah.
Because that's the same question I have with Hafley. I think Hafley's going to get looks from the Packers, but it's all right, he spent a bunch of time in college. What's his roster of potential offensive coordinator candidates look like, moving forward? Yeah.
All right. Here's my second thing that I have definitively learned this year is the Pittsburgh Steelers roster. That dog don't hunt. I know they're winning the division. I know they're 6-4. I think they're just in absolute hell with a coach that will not let them bottom out and a roster that is not good enough to win playoff games. And I just feel like something has to give this offseason. Hayward and Watt are on the wrong side of 30. Like DK Metcalf theoretically is a weapon. Jalen Warren is fine, but like that team is not it. And yet they're going to keep winning 8-9 games as long as you let them. I don't know what you do there, but the Steelers, I almost feel more sorry for them than anybody else because they just are an absolute purgatory with that roster.
Harmon's so good up front too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what you do there, what you have to do, and what you should do, at least on what they will, is that you have to just start trading away pieces and try to go move up in the draft and get a quarterback at some point. I think you got to draft a guy high. Maybe you trade TJ Watt. You trade, one of these defensive pieces that are good and go up and get somebody legit. I mean, otherwise it's like, yeah, blow it up. I mean, get rid of Tomlin, and
I just don't think they're going to do that.
They won't do that. So it's like,
no. Should they take a chance on one of these quarterbacks, like a Trevor or Kyler or somebody?
It just feels like they've been doing that for how long? It's like trying to get guys like that, cast offs and vet agents.
Well, then Arthur Smith's probably going to he's going to probably get a head coaching job again, right?
Which is insane
starting over on offense.
Arthur Smith sucks. It's the worst. I hate watching. He's the worst. Like, I don't know. He's like failed.
I hate watching the Steelers. Period. Like that team is they offend me. I hate them, and not just because they're the Steelers. Like that whole roster and what they're about.
It's kind of like they've gotten so. It's kind of like the Chiefs. They've gotten so unimaginative with the way that they plug holes in the signings and bringing certain guys back, or just retread veterans.
Yeah.
Well, signing DK Metcalf was a puzzling. Like,
also
why would you do that?
Watching Pickens absolutely ball out down in Dallas.
Pickens is so good.
Like belies such a lack of leadership in Pittsburgh, which is always what they've been known for, is leadership, and the fact that maybe we owe Dak an apology of, like, I think Dak's a dude. I just don't think he's like I don't know. Maybe it's like if you gave me Dak, or I mean, Dak's probably a top 7 guy in the league now, and I never believed that he was like, he's just gotten better and better and better. But I think if you put Dak on the right, like, they've got weaponry, they've got, I mean, shit, if they drafted a running back, let's say they drafted the kid from, like, I saw ESPN mock the kid from Jeremiah Love to Dallas, and
Notre Dame
cool,
kid.
like, we're gonna score 1 million points on you. Like, good luck stopping this. But that's where I just get with, like, all right, like, Tomlin's supposed to be this dude, and he's kind of run some of these guys out of Pittsburgh a little bit, or not been able to control them. But then these guys go to other situations and they're thriving.
To me, it's like an offensive philosophy problem in Pittsburgh, and I don't see that really changing until Tomlin is not there. But I don't know if they want to move on from Tomlin. It's really incredible.
What if Tomlin went to Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean,
you give him a quarterback. I mean, obviously you see. We have Roethlisberger and your guy's boy, Ben. And then it's like, since then, he's just been toiling in mediocrity. So, I mean, that's the case with a lot of these defensive head coaches, right? It's like, without the quarterback, they look very, very mediocre. It's like Vrabel, Bill Belichick, keep the list goes on and on and on.
Shit,
but
even even Dia Baugh,
Yeah.
he's got the quarterback and he looks fucking mediocre at this point. And I know he's more of a teams
Special
guy.
teams guy.
Yeah.
But he lost Tucker, Massage Boy too. So
all right, TC, you got another thing you've learned.
Yeah. Mike McDonald's a dude. I think just looking at, I don't think that's necessarily the most functional roster. I don't think they're doing great. I think they hit on Zabel, the offensive lineman. They've got,
You got a party going on
party.
sorry, the cleaners just got here. My wife's out there like screaming for some reason.
No, but I think McDonald I've just been really impressed. He just seems wildly confident, and as they get more pieces in place defensively for him to cook with, I think he's on the front lines, the cutting edge of defensive scheme right now and game planning. And I think we'll see what like Jackson Smith and Jigba is a freaking weapon. I think they've made the right choices of like the guys that they've moved off of, offensively have made sense. And Darnold's good enough. I think he's always going to be on pumpkin watch, but if that defense is awesome and they're running the hell out of the ball, like, and kind of turning that offensive line over on the fly, it's impressive. It seems like he's in lockstep with Schneider out there. So,
yeah. I'm right there with you. He's really good. I was impressed going back to his D coordinator days in Baltimore. All right, maybe everybody got one more. Should we go one more here, Poosh?
Yeah, sure. My third is that Vic Fangio should be getting way more credit for being one of the elite coaches in the NFL. I think he's what makes that Philadelphia Eagles team, like it makes that team. I don't know what Sirianni does. I know that you flipped on Sirianni. I don't get it, dude. I don't understand what that guy does.
Controlled chaos, baby.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's Fangio is
lightning rod.
He's keeping things like together up there. The defense is what that team wins with. Which is you can definitely win like that. That makes them a contender because that defense is so good. But Vic Fangio has been awesome everywhere he's gone, except for Miami, which was just a bizarre thing where that should have worked out. You know what I mean? McDonald.
I can't even judge anything on Miami. Like I think that whole thing, which it's crazy impressive to see what McDaniel, that team not quitting on him the last 2 years is wild.
I can't believe it.
But I can't even evaluate that situation just because I think the personnel has been so bizarrely put together. And Green finally lost his job.
Yeah, it seems like the Dolphins are firmly in like the Jets, Bengals, Brown, like where it's like I think it's just like a culture problem.
Stephen Ross problem.
Yeah, it's like I think it just goes all the way up to the top.
But yeah, I mean that cover 3, like 3-4 system has been. He was, with the 49ers under ball heavy, and it was awesome when he was there. I loved every second of it because it was, Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman in the middle, Justin Smith, Aldon Smith, like an incredible roster also. Smith. But yeah, I have an Aldon Smith jersey, by the way, that sometimes I'll break out. But yeah, I think he needs to get his flowers.
Because I don't think Fangio, what is he, 67? Like, he's not going to be a head coach again, right? But as long as he wants to keep coaching, yeah, man, coach up the defense. Like, I think that's the sweet spot, kind of the Spagnuolo role, if you will, too.
Kind of what Vance
he's a Philly guy, too.
Yeah, kind of what Vance Joseph's doing right now, but which is crazy because he used to be the head coach of that same organization. That always blows me away. But like, I think Denver. He'll get. Yeah, he seems like a wildly likable guy. I would imagine he gets another look.
There's rumors of like them trading away Sean Payton to the Giants and letting Vance Joseph remain as the head coach. There's rumblings that the ownership and Peyton aren't really getting along
Where'd
too
you
well.
hear this?
I
haven't
can't.
heard any of this.
I heard it somewhere.
Some of that
God,
Santa
where did I hear
Barbara
it?
gossip. Poosh is getting down at the Valley Club or
Yeah, I think it is. You know, I honestly don't remember where I heard that, but I did hear it, and it really was like, wait, what? Like maybe it was on some sort of fantasy podcast or something. Not to delve
Okay.
back into fantasy, but there was just New York rumors, and then the other rumors is that New York is going to hire Arthur Smith, which is another puzzling one. But anyway, so yeah, Vic Fangio, he needs his flowers. The guy is so elite. The scheme is held up for so long. He's obviously changing it, evolving it. But I mean, what a badass that guy is.
Here, Mr. Poosh. All right, my last thing, guys. I know this has been on your radars too, but just need to take this to the listeners. We have a field goal problem in the NFL. It's out of control. Way
roll back
too
the
easy.
ball.
Roll back the ball. The K balls are, I know some of the kickers insist it's more guys just technique and the strength of the leg is what's leading to all of it. But
Better athletes,
I know, but here's what I go back to. The Bengals were playing the Bears, and they rushed on the field goal unit. They were deciding whether to go for it, and at the last second, they rushed on the field goal unit. Evan McPherson, who, I mean, shit, he made a 69-yarder in Green Bay that was waved off because they called a timeout. Like, he doesn't have a little leg, but he misses a 54-yard field goal short. It was dead down the middle, and it comes up short. And it was so confusing. And after the game, they said because of they had to rush on, they weren't sure if they were going for it or not. He didn't kick with a K ball. And so you just saw
coaching.
That's a coaching mistake, yes. But the point is, like, that ball sails through the uprights with a K ball. And I just think with combine the prevalence of 50-yard field goals, 60-yard field goals and longer with these new kickoff rules where if it's a touchback, it comes out to the 35. It just feels like you get one first down now and you're all of a sudden in field goal range. I think we got to make field goals tougher, and I think we got to bring back the art of field position and punting. I
Randy,
don't like where we are.
I think I'm gonna take the opposite side on this one.
Okay.
I think I respectfully would vehemently disagree. I think it's elevated the importance of special teams to a new level as far as if you do get a good kickoff return, it's wildly important, or a good punt return. I think if you can pin a guy pin a team back, I think it's made the decision between those long field goals or punting even like that much more important. It feels like this is a team's house, and it's made teams that much more important than ever. Randy, I hear you on are we de-skilling it? Are we dumbing it down? But at the end of the day, it's still hard to make these, especially if there's any conditions. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this evolves as weather deteriorates around the season,
Yeah.
but or if you're in dome games are going to be very interesting for, and very divergent from outdoor games as we get into December and January. But I don't know. I feel like I'm at the epicenter of it down here in Jacksonville with Cam Little, and we got a great punter, and just teams is on the rise, baby.
It's the year of teams. I mean, we talk about it on our stream all the time, but it is the year of teams. I think the football is 3 phases, and we're finally getting to a stage in the NFL where the 3rd phase is getting the respect that it deserves. And I think what I would say is the perfect example, as I mentioned it earlier, and it was mentioned on the Football 301 pod with BallKnower Nate, which when the Rams punted away and to the Seahawks at the end of that game, and their punter pinned them on the 1-yard line, corner, coffin corner punt, straight out right on the 1-yard line, pinned them. That completely changed the game, because then Myers had a I think 4-yarder or 63-yarder, something like that. At the end of the game, even if you add 10 or 15 yards onto that, that's very makeable for a makeable Myers field goal. And that drastically changed it. And then I won the game for them, essentially. So, I mean, teams, we've been saying it all year. It's a big part of the game. Now, what I will say though is that with the advent of the change in the kickoff and how easy it is to advance so much further up the field initially, like maybe they should think about shrinking the field goal width, like
I'd be up for that.
a couple
Sure.
of yards, so that if you're going to let them use K balls where you can kick it from like 70 yards out, make it harder to hit it.
I like that. I think also we'll see how things evolve from how to defend it, right? Because those things are coming. They're still coming out at a really low trajectory. As far as like, is it easier to block? Our team is going to place more of a priority on having some taller guys that can play special teams. I know there's been a few teams that have really like rewritten their rules for kickoff returns here this season and kind of thrown everybody for a loop. Like I think how is the game going to adjust and evolve as we go along here too? I think it's just, I don't know. It's fun though. Like I think it's always fun when the NFL throws a variable in, because I think the game can get a little too optimized at times. And I feel like over the last couple of years, it's gotten more variable. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was just going to say there has been, I guess I'm just looking really quickly online, there has been a significant increase in blocked field goals this year.
Yeah.
It's like the most since like 2014 or something like that. So
I do think our punting brothers, I feel like we're not, I think we could get a lot better league wide in the art of pinning, either coughing corner or doing a better job of avoiding touchbacks and pinning opponents deep in their territory.
Also,
like
from
a bit of a lost art.
From a kickoffs perspective, like if everything's on the table, I think letting teams do the free kick instead of the kickoff and getting that depth underneath it, but setting it up the same way would be really interesting.
Well, I guess does that matter though? Because
they can't
move
rush until it's caught.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's good. I think you would.
But maybe getting it high so that it's coming down.
I was gonna say there's more. It seems like there's more strategy to that, or you could get the running kicks that do bounce and then bounce like crazy, and guys couldn't catch them immediately.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hit wedge as opposed to
So.
All right, TC, wrap us up here. Do you have a last one?
I do. The Falcons front office is an absolute dumpster fire disgrace. I want to thank BallKnower Nate for talking about this. I was just nodding my head and Terry Fontenot, they hired him from New Orleans. I guess he's bragged a lot about, we did this in New Orleans, we were on this guy in New Orleans, or that sort of thing. New Orleans has been a dumpster fire for a long time. And from a cap perspective, from a scouting perspective, going back to like when they drafted Marcus Davenport, like went all in on, hey, we have to have this guy. And I just think the way that this, like they had a chance to totally reset things after BallKnower Matt left and reset the cap and all of that. And they've kind of frittered it away. And Drake London's really good. Bijan's is a stud, right? They've got a good, they've got an above average offensive line. I don't know why or how Kyle Pitts has never panned out. It just doesn't seem like they're doing the right stuff. Like the ingredients are there I like Penix. But like the entire progression of the last few years with Fontenot, and I don't think Raheem Morris is a very good head coach. He seems like a lovely guy, like just a total dude, but not, I feel like that Rams defense got better after he moved on. I feel like we saw him in Tampa Bay. Like this is his second crack at it. And I'm just not all that impressed with what I'm seeing, with what the results look like. And then the way that like going all in for this season with, with the two defensive ends, or the two rush ends, trading the first round pick away. That's going to end up probably being a top 8 pick, top 9 pick. It's crazy to me. And I think I don't know if it's desperation from Arthur Blank that he wants to see a Super Bowl before he gets really old. But Randy, I'm starting to think again like that. I think there's competence in that organization, but I think the floor the ceiling is so low that I don't think that they make good decisions. And I think the way that they've handled Penix, the way that often, like, everything just seems very disconnected from the program and strategy that they've put in place. Doesn't really feel like a strategy, or it feels taped together. It feels disconnected. It seems like they think they're doing the right stuff, but it's actually not. It's not part of a larger plan, or it's not actually. They're just checking boxes instead of doing something cohesive. If that makes sense. And,
Well, I would say that the signing and drafting, the signing of Kirk Cousins to that fairly massive contract, then drafting Penix was probably one of the bigger bunglings of, like,
I mean, they needed
front
Penix
office.
to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
he's just not that yet.
It just seems like they have so much confidence in their own evaluations.
Yeah, and then when I said it on whatever episode it was, BallKnowers S3 episode, 2 or 1. But when they drafted Pierce and they drafted Jalen Wilson, I was like, why they're drafting these light body dudes? Like, that's not gonna
Walker. Yeah.
Jalen Walker, sorry. And like that's like they're both light dudes. They're light of frame, they're fast, like edge benders, but they're not strong. Like you can't keep those guys on the field for 3 downs. I don't understand why
versus
you would
what the
invest
Lions do, where they just trot the same front 7 guys out there.
If anything,
downs
if
in a
we've
row.
learned anything in the NFL, it's like light bodies, like up front.
Abdul
it's just not
Carter
gonna-
struggled this year.
Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't work. Like you can have one. You can't have that. Can't be the basis of your defense. It can't be like light dudes on the edge. You're just going to get absolutely bodied all day long. And so that was a puzzling decision to me. And then trading back up to get Pierce was absurd, like absurdly bad. It's fireable. Like, and then
Fontenot just stands there. He just looks like such an arrogant clown when he's standing in the draft room, and he's just got it. I just can't do it, man. I can't do it. And Rich McKay is still there. The whole thing is just, it's been the same bullshit with Arthur Blank for the last 15, 20 years. And he almost gives people too much leeway, but then
Eels boy.
Yeah, I just can't put my finger on what ails that organization, other than like he's the common thread. Him and Rich McKay are the two.
It feels right. It just feels like there's no identity. Like it's one of those teams and franchises that has lost its identity. I mean, when DQ and Shanny were there, they had an identity, and it's like it was a little bit more of kind of that lighter bodies, but they're gonna run the ball. They're gonna, they were explosive. They had Julio,
a lot of play action.
It's like, it was like it, and it was on the turf there. It's like it worked, and now it's like, they have London, they have Bijan, but it's like now Penix is out, tears his ACL. He's not gonna be back until the beginning of next season. So you're probably gonna lose a lot of development in his part.
Well, so it's just to begin with, Penix will be 26 at the beginning of next season. You're in year 3, and you still don't know what you have.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard to, like, it would be hard to defend Fontenot keeping that job, I think, at this point. And quite honestly, it's like, I think I'm to the point where TC, you're right. Like the pieces don't add up to the sum that they should. And I think that eventually just falls on Raheem Morris. Like to get blown out by the Dolphins right at home, to lose to the Panthers. Like there are some very just losses there that are pretty unforgivable, I feel like. God, and they looked so good against the Bills, and they got it to 3-2, and it's like, okay, wow, maybe the Falcons have like found their identity, and they're going to get this thing rolling. And now they've lost 5 straight, and the season's over.
And that Vikings win in week 2 looks a lot worse now. Same with the Commanders win week 4. And to lose 30-0 to the Panthers, like that's fireable in and of itself. And just to be the guy that's like, hey, I think we're a piece or 2 away from really being something here. I always feel like they have all these great pieces and they're never fucking doing anything with them. Like Bijan should just, they drafted him to be this interchangeable, like positionless dude. And he's just a really good running back.
Yeah. I mean, with Bijan and Drake London, it's like, shit, man, that's 2/3 to like a really good offense.
Well, I think Penix is good too. I just don't think that there's anything
bit of a scheme problem.
I think Bijan within the right scheme could be like, could be the Christian McCaffrey type where it's
totally
they're running him out of the slot a bunch. And then, but what you should do is like, what they should do is utilize Algier, because Algier is a real like proper, 3-down running back.
Oh, Matt Ryan was like raving about Algier. He's like, I love watching that guy run.
Well, it's like whatever happened to like having a 2-back set, like running not necessarily a fullback, but like, running like 21 personnel with Pitts, and then you have, it's just the same. It's the same. You can do the same thing that they're doing with Kyle, which is like you get him into the base formation, and then you put Bijan out, get him out in the slot against a linebacker or, somebody that's a mismatch. Like they could be used. I know they're trying to do that, but it's like doesn't seem like they're as successful. It started off well in the beginning of the year, and then teams kind of figured it out, and they haven't been able to go to that next kind of like iteration of that. And so, and now losing Penix for the rest of the year, it's like, that just seems like it's been bungled.
Like if you gave Mike McDaniel, Bijan, and I don't know if Drake London's his type of receiver, but I feel like he could, and then Kyle Pitts and Algier, like you could figure out a pretty fun offensive scheme with that. Or I don't know. Just I don't get it. Sorry. Yeah, like go listen to the Football 301 podcast, because they did like 10 minutes on it, maybe 20, 25 minutes into it. And they say it so much more eloquently than I can put it, but and without resorting to personal attacks on Terry Fontenot.
Well, we like the personal attacks. Guys, I'm going to thank our last sponsor. Today's Trap Draw is brought to you by FanDuel. Thursday night football continues to deliver, and FanDuel's keeping the energy up with their $2 million Thursday night football jackpot. Place an anytime touchdown score bet using your profit boost, and if your player scores the first or last touchdown of the game, you'll earn a share of $2 million in bonus bets. What's the game we have coming up? Is it Texans-Bills Thursday? Do I have that? I know it's Bills.
Texans. Texans-Bills. Yeah.
Texans-Bills. Good chance Josh Allen might be a good touchdown, anytime touchdown score bet. So head to FanDuel.com/no-laying-up to download the app and get started. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, must be 21 and older and present in select states, 18 and older and present DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in. Must apply profit boost token on select markets. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last TD pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expired 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. All right, guys, before we wrap up, the last thing I wanted to do was the flip side of what we have definitively learned would be, what do we still need to learn? What question do we need answered the rest of this season? So why don't we go around, just what the definitive question you would like answered, that you need answered, I should say, these last 7 weeks. Poosh, we'll start with you. What's the one question kind of burning on your mind?
My biggest question is Vanilla Vic going to Pumpkin at the end of this year? Is he going to put that dumb looking face back on
What
And
does
just
your gut tell you right now?
My gut tells
Poosh-
me that he 100% is going to melt down at the end of this
I
year.
100% agree with that.
See, I disagree. I think
Wow.
Steichen. I don't think they're going to put that much on his shoulders. That
The run game is really good.
the run game's really
Yeah.
good. Tyler Warren's really good. Pittman's a possession guy on the outside. They've got some speed. The defense is. I don't even think we've seen the best of that defense yet. With some of the injuries that they've had. So I'm kind of buying, man.
I'm
what?
buying the team. I think we're already starting to see some signs of like the facade
some
cracking
pumpkin
a bit,
traits.
and some like
A carbon.
that dumb
Carbon.
face popping back out.
Randy, that should be your pumpkin next year. You should carve a dumb face on your
Vanilla Vic.
pumpkin.
I'll say this. All right, here's the Colts schedule coming up. We're going to learn a lot about the Colts. That's the good news. They're in Kansas City, then they get the Texans, then they go to Jacksonville, they go to Seattle, they get the Niners at home, they get the Jags at home, and they go to the Texans. Like that is a tough schedule coming down the stretch here. So
those are good defenses outside of the Niners. I mean, all those teams are really, really good defenses.
Jags are hot and cold.
Yeah,
I think,
but at Jags, tougher.
Yeah,
sure.
I think they'll run the hell out of the ball in the Jags.
I don't trust Daniel Jones. He's truly. I'm going to doubt it until I actually see it in the playoffs.
I mean, those are all
no
teams.
other way to approach that.
Those are all teams that are in the playoff hunt that are going to be playing for their playoff lives. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah.
That are all trying to catch, Indy. For the most part. I mean,
are we giving Daniel Jones? I don't feel like we're giving him enough of the benefit of the doubt of how dysfunctional it was in New York for his entire career. Goes to Minnesota, sees a good quarterback room. Steichen's obviously a good offensive mind. And, we're just seeing that theme in the NFL of guys, the light coming on at year 5, year 6, year 7. It just takes longer.
I 100% agree with that, and I've been very vocal that we don't give quarterbacks enough time in the NFL to develop,
like Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
Got to find a good situation.
But like the Rich Gannon scenario that was mentioned with Matt Ryan, but I do think that it's just from what we've seen out of Vanilla Vic, Daniel Jones. It's just. He has the gene. He has the D gene, whatever that is, the dumb gene, where he just will make a really, really bad throw, and he'll make a really bad, poor decision at least one time every single game, and it's taken a master class from Steichen to really kind of, get that gene to go somewhat dormant for. Much of the season, but I think there's been a few games in the last few weeks where we kind of seen it pop back out again, where he's throwing picks, he's making weird decisions, and he's got that look on his face, and I don't know.
It always comes back to the look on his face with Poosh.
I mean, I said that when they drafted him. I don't remember that. It was like the guy's got, or year one, it was like the dude just has that look on his face where you're like, a quarterback has to have when you look at him, you're like, okay, this guy's not scared and he's not tweaked in the moment. And it's like, you look at Daniel Jones and he's got this
I'm just
Eli
looking
would
at his
maybe
ESPN profile picture. It's
Eli
would maybe be the exception.
Yeah.
Eli kind of had that dead-eyed, sociopathic look. It was it wasn't as much as a dumb look. It was kind of I'm I don't really care what's going on around me. Nothing really. Yeah, it's vacant. It's so. I don't know. I tend to lean. They're still a good team. It's a good team. It's a well-rounded team, and obviously they run the football extremely well. But I think when they get into the playoffs, if they get into the playoffs, which I don't think is a given, that is going to be interesting. I think that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think
they miss the playoffs. That's a hell of a collapse.
I know
they have a tough schedule, but
similar spots how the Texans have been the last few years of can they win a wild card game? I think the AFC South kind of has a natural ceiling on it. I think we're going to learn a lot about it over the next few weeks. Honestly, I think that Thursday night game this week with Texans Bills, that's exactly the kind of game that the Bills may have trouble with because that's a really good Texans defense and on a short week, and like I don't know. I think that, and then but Davis Mills is starting. Some of those Texans wide receivers are starting to come on a little bit. It's just weird. And the Jags are, question mark. I just don't think the Jags are ready to come out of the oven yet. So
Yeah, looking at the Jags schedule though, they got the Titans, they got Cards, Titans, Colts, big one, Jets, Broncos, Colts again, and then Titans. So I mean,
they're going to be like the 10-7, like they're going to be like a 10-7 thing, and then
I mean, they still have to play the Colts twice. I mean, they're down.
Yeah.
They're 2 games behind the Colts. You never know.
Yeah. Well, that Jags schedule, that's going back to that's not great news for the Chiefs. Trying to claw their way back into the playoff picture.
Or big. That's a good segue. I think my thing that I would like to learn over the last, 8 weeks of the season here is the Bengals. I want to see if Burrow comes back next week on Thursday night. Thursday night game against the Ravens. Like that's
how much heat the dumpster fire will give off. Is that what you want to find out?
Yeah, they're in such a weird spot where Burrow obviously he's dying to come back. If they hadn't choked away those two late leads, you're thinking what if? But Burrow is dead set on coming back. If Burrow gets hurt again, what happens then? And then just generally speaking, I think it's just like we've done our whole Zach Taylor bit and everything like that. But
it could be time to have a hard reset in the coaching.
And I think
offices.
like that, and I would almost say like that needs to come from Burrow himself of like, hey, you know what? Like I want a fresh start with a new, with a new deal here, because I think that seeing Lou Anarumo, coaching him up in Indy and saying, all right, he was doing more with less. They're in Cincinnati, and it was obviously a roster and talent issue. Obviously the front office has, loads of issues in and of itself, and just lack of resources and bandwidth and brain power there. But man, I just it seems like what other, where else do you go? Right? Like, do you just fire it right back up at the start of next season? And so I think it's an integral question to have, just because I think it's going to define the next 5 years. It's going to define Joe Burrow's career at this point. They have to get it back on the rails for next year. Otherwise, it's going to get fucking weird.
It's an interesting situation. The Bengals now are 3-7, and their next 4 games are New England, at Baltimore, at Buffalo, Baltimore at home. The 3-game losing streak that they're on could be 7 games. Burrow can come back, but Flacco didn't look great this past weekend in Pittsburgh. I don't know if the hot streak has kind of ended for him, but it continues not really to be an offense problem. And there's been no signs that this defense is taking any kind of small step forward, which is really discouraging. I'm with you. I could be talked into letting Zach Taylor go. I still think if you let Zach Taylor go, just please let Duke Tobin go as well. Give me a hard franchise wide reset, and I can live with that for sure.
But Randy, is it something? Do they who's going to take that job? I mean, that it would be the most fascinating job to take if you were all right, I know, want to bring my guy, but then all right, we don't sign multi-year guaranteed deals. We don't have a scouting department.
They have to go be active in defensive free agency this year. Truly, they're going to need 7-8 new starters next year if they really want to be competitive. It's such a disaster on that side of the ball, and they've missed with so many picks now the last 3-4 years. It's incredible. It's really depressing. The one thing I will say for Zach is you listen to the guys. I don't think I've heard one player speak a bad word about him. And that's not the be all end all, but I do think that's not nothing. Yeah, I do think he's respected in that building. It's just it might be like, hey man, we
just need a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah,
right?
everybody needs a new voice.
And that's a little bit. That's kind of just. Is that just the theme of the entire AFC North?
It could be. Yeah,
I mean,
really
because
could
it
be.
feels like the same thing in Cleveland. A little bit of like, he's not my cup of tea, but like Stefanski seems like a good
I
coach.
don't
Like
know how he has a job.
But like that defense is legitimately good too.
Yeah.
But like Stefanski, like if he gets fired, I think there's 3 or 4 teams lining up to hire him. I think the Cardinals would hire him tomorrow, right? I think
maybe the Bengals should make Taylor and Stefanski co-head coaches. Like, let Stefanski coach up the defensive side of the ball. Let Taylor coach up the offensive side. Or knock them both to coordinator.
No. Stefanski's an offensive guy. Yeah. Schwartz is the D coordinator up there. I would say
Schwartz is the guy. I just don't get the Stefanski, like, no quarterback they've had, like, nobody has looked good under Stefanski. I don't. For being an offensive guy, I don't understand how.
But look at the weapons that they have up there. I mean, that's a talk about a dumpster fire. Like
the running backs.
They got Judkins. They're
a disaster on the offensive line. Like that's the thing. Like even if they did, it would be the Titans all over again. Even if they drafted a quarterback, they're throwing him into a terrible situation. The offensive line, like they have no long-term pieces on the offensive line.
Yeah. Then they draft like 3 quarterbacks and none of them are good. It's like, what are you doing down there? It's very, very, and they still have Massage Boy, I think, on the docket for like another like year or two, which is insane.
I think through the end of next year they have Massage Boy there.
Yeah,
also,
crazy.
guys, I just got to get it off. Heard this too. Chip Kelly's making $6 million a year to the offensive coordinator.
It's incredible.
Las Vegas. It's nuts.
Right.
My question for you guys. Okay. Yeah, Randy, go ahead.
I'm going to stick in the AFC North. This was the one that I'm most curious about is, have the Ravens turned a corner defensively, and are they actually a good team or not? And I don't think we're going to find out for several more weeks. They were 1-5. They're now 5-5. Their next 4 games, like 2 of them against the Bengals, there's a really good chance Baltimore gets to 9-5 on an 8-game win streak, and they're going to go in to a game against the Patriots, and I have no idea if they're actually any good or not. But I do think that the Ravens are. I think the schedule sets up nicely, and I'd be shocked if the Ravens don't win the AFC North.
I think the defense is coming together. I have weird question marks about the offense. Just Lamb, I don't know. I love Lamb. It just never feels like everything's rowing in the right direction there. But yeah, I'm buying on them. I think they're absolutely making the playoffs and then making noise. And it's kind of, I think it's kind of like
I am too.
Put up or shut
They're too
up.
talented not to. I mean,
yeah,
they got Matabike back. I mean, he's kind of like the linchpin on the interior, and Kyle Hamilton is.
They're starting to use Hamilton a little bit
elite.
more. And,
Roquan is healthier, not lost a step obviously, but still just like he's kind of that Ray Lewis guy, glue guy in the middle that is still just like a big body and thumper and can make a play here and there.
I mean, Randy, I want to see a fucking track meet on Thanksgiving night. I
think you might get one.
I want to see a 54-51 shootout football game of like.
I mean, shit, they gave you 2 last year. That's the Bengals have zero ability to stop Lamar Jackson even before this year, and now they're bringing in one of the worst defenses of all time.
Of all time.
The Ravens, I don't know how they keep the Ravens under half 100. Truly, it's going to be, they're just going to run all over them.
Speaking of the AFC North, what did you make of the Jamar?
That's tough.
Incident?
I hate seeing Jamar lose his cool like that, and I think it just speaks to broader frustration. That's kind of the first real crack that we've seen that the losing's getting to him. Bad decision. He did get shut down too. Yeah, it's just gross. You're better than that, Jamar. Come on.
Totally.
Did you see that his his appeal was going to be that if he was going to spit at Jalen Ramsey, he would have spit at him in the face. No.
I do like that.
He's like, if I was going to spit at him, like I didn't spit at him. If I would have spit at him in the face.
Randy, I do think the encouraging thing on the Bengals front is Higgins has looked really good. He's looked like 2 years younger. Like he's kind of gone back in time a little bit.
His hands too. I'm so impressed with the way he catches the ball outside of his body. He's got such strong hands, and he goes and gets the football.
Which, on that note, can I just vent for a second? I have Marvin Harrison 2.0 on my fantasy team. He's fucking horrible.
How is that possible?
I don't understand it.
I don't.
Well, hasn't he been getting better over the last few weeks?
He has, but like he had that. I watched that game. It was a Thursday night game or a Monday night game where they were wearing the desert camo unis, and I don't know if they were playing the Seahawks or who, but he had some of like the most insane drops and just mental errors in that game, and refusing to go across the middle of the field, and just playing in his own head. Like I felt bad for the guy, to be honest. And then, did you guys read that thing that I don't know if it was I think it was ESPN. It was either ESPN or the Athletic did a couple weeks ago, like just basically like got his dad on the phone to talk about like the Cardinals offense, and he's like, I don't understand it. I don't understand the modern game. Like Marvin Harrison 1.0 sounds like an absolute lunatic.
I don't think that's breaking any news.
No, but even just I've never really heard him actually just speak his mind on anything. He's always just been kind of this crazed lunatic over in the corner that doesn't really open his mouth. And man, he had some quotes in that piece that were fascinating. Of like, like I can't talk ball with my son because I just don't understand their offense, and it's just not for me. It's just not. I couldn't. It was it was 2 weeks ago. It was the Josh Weinfuss, why Marvin Harrison Jr.'s Hall of Fame dad struggles watching him play. And it's just so funny when you see a picture of the two of them too, of like, you got this just, old school Marvin Harrison, kind of the least flashy guy of all time. And then you got somewhere with the dark sunglasses and the big hat and the chains and all that stuff, and it just seems like such a weird juxtaposition, father and son.
I loved 1.0 when he was playing. He was like one of my favorite players in the NFL. Those Colts teams were so good.
I mean,
Bob Sanders.
He said, "quote It's very hard for me to watch the Cardinals offense, and you can quote me on that." And then he just kept saying stuff over and over and over again. He said, basically, I can't relate to what goes on out there. I think that's just peacefully put, without pointing fingers or anything. It's just me. I'm giving you my professional eye. I can't relate to it. It doesn't add up to me. I can't deal with it. And he just kept going on and on and on.
Yeah, some Marvin Harrison 1.0. Just a lot there. All right, boys. What else do we need to touch on here? Anything before we call it a show?
Do you guys like what the Jets are doing as far as just tearing it down and totally resetting it?
I didn't necessarily love getting rid of Quinnen Williams, but I know that they got a first and a second, which, if you're gonna reset, you might as well reset. But it's like I always struggle with getting rid of kind of foundational pieces if you're gonna reset, because it's like the chances of you getting a player of that quality again, top 3 pick, that's tough. But otherwise, getting rid of Sauce Gardner also, getting 2 firsts for that was a big one. I mean, listen, if you're in a full-blown rebuild, I don't think they have anything there that's worth holding on to at this point. I think it's like, they have some okay pieces, but it's like, the next 2 drafts.
Nebbish. Yeah.
Wilson's nebbish. The draft's supposed to be incredible. Not from a quarterback standpoint, but from like talent standpoint. So maybe they go one more year. Next year they try to just draft a bunch of, weaponry and, kind of rebuild the defense, and then, maybe 2027 they go all in for a quarterback. But I don't hate it. It's like, if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it all the way, as long as there's a plan. It's not just like start tanking and getting rid of dudes. But
Randy, what do you
Yeah.
think?
I don't mind it. I think they just need a new infusion of talent across the roster. I like Quentin Williams, really, really good player, but I'm just not sure he was going to fit what's going to be their new timeline. So I was okay with that, and I think shit, if you can get 2 firsts for Sauce, I don't mind that either. I just think those can be, if they draft well, those can be deployed and really help kind of establish a new timeline. But yeah, the quarterback room is a disaster. Like they got to figure something out there. And I'm not necessarily sure that helps coming through the draft, but just bringing in maybe a better veteran, a better, or taking a shot on somebody from somewhere else, trying to get that, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold bump. But
I love
the
it.
irony is they had Sam Darnold, right? Like they're kind of the organization that ruined Sam Darnold from the start.
I think I'm like jealous of an organization like that. I think Neil needs to jump in both, head first into that and just ride it and see what, because I think having 3 first-round picks is exhilarating.
It is fun.
It
Yeah,
was,
for sure.
it was, I remember the year the Jags had 2 first-round picks, and then we realized that, Balky was the one making the decisions there. But it very much a, like if you're going to tear it down, tear it down, where I think that the Titans, the fact that they haven't traded Jeffrey Simmons, done the same thing, because that roster is totally bereft of any talent, with the exception of Cam Ward, who I think good. Like the fact that they haven't broken him this year, like he is this is kind of remarkable and like a testament to him. But yeah, I think the I don't know. I'll be fascinated to see kind of what direction the Jets go, because they have an arsenal of draft capital moving forward. And on that same note, like I think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs.
Who do you think they're catching? Because that's interesting. Because I didn't put them in the hunt, because I just feel like they're going to have to jump the Niners. I feel like,
or the Bears. I mean, the Bears could potentially fall.
Yeah,
but that's
and I know the Cowboys haven't really beat anybody good yet, which is kind of a, I guess minor detail there. But just looking at it, like they played the Eagles hard week 1, beat the Giants in a shootout, lost to the Bears on the road, which fascinating. Just seeing Coach Flus kind of have some ingredients now. We'll see what happens. Obviously, they had the tie with the Packers, which is a good result. Beat the Jets on the road, like did what they had to do. Close loss to the Panthers. Beat the Commanders. Lost big to the Broncos. Bad loss to the Cardinals. Beat the Raiders.
that's the bad one. Yeah,
But coming up,
Cardinals
like
loss.
they got Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys the next 3 weeks.
Lions.
Or sorry, Eagles, Chiefs, Lions the next 3 weeks, and then after that it's Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, Giants. And so
it's really like they got to win one of those.
They got to
Eagles,
win one of those
Chiefs,
3
Lions game.
exactly,
to
and then
have
take
a
care of
chance.
business.
And then they got to run the table at the end of the year. But Jaden Daniels coming back probably.
Yeah, and then
for the end of the year.
Jameis absolutely cooking.
Well, Dart's gonna probably be back by then, the concussion. So, but yeah, I mean, and the Vikings. I think they have to go to Minnesota, so that's a little bit of a different.
The Minnesota game's at home. They're going to Detroit.
It is, okay.
Yeah. Which that Detroit game's almost the must win of that bunch, because Detroit's one of those teams that they could conceively catch.
Yeah. The 2 most oppositely constructed rosters.
Yeah.
Although I guess now a little bit different with Quentin Williams, but no, like that was an impressive win to go out and play like they did after their teammate died that week. Is like Schottenheimer seems like he's got some EQ, and he's got a good handle on that locker room. I also have I have a request. Like the Saints are bad and not interesting, and I think that's like the worst of all worlds. I think the Saints should just straight up. They should bring in Fields. They should bring in Anthony Richardson. They've got Taysom Hill already. And just straight up run the triple option. And just like I think their offensive line sucks, but like just trade away Olave, trade away any pieces that aren't going to help you like run the ball, and just turn it into like a complete sideshow down there, because that's exactly what they are right now. but they're an uninteresting sideshow.
Here's a question: what do the Cardinals do with Kyler now? Like, it just feels like it's not the answer, right? Like, do they trade?
I think they're out on Kyler.
Yeah.
I think they're
They're
going to
cooking
look
a
to trade
brisket.
him.
What about trading him to New Orleans?
Yeah.
I just can't imagine New Orleans wants to start with. Yeah.
He's like
what about trading?
He's like the trade.
If I'm the Saints, I'm going to want to get a quarterback on a rookie deal to kind of try to
he's
get
the
this
Trey
thing
the
going.
Trey of like the NFL though, isn't he? Like what's his name?
The Trey Young.
Trey Young. He's like the Trey Young of the NFL. Like,
that's a great comp.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you were Mike McDaniel, who would you rather have? Tua or Kyler?
Ugh.
I would much rather have Kyler personally.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
Kyler,
at least you have imagine like the speed team up there with Kyler, and you got Achan, Tyreek Hill if he comes back, Waddle, and you're just running speed with like Kyler with read option, because it's like they're running the option with Tua, but he's not a threat to run. So it's like, what if you had that advanced threat of running the football? It'd be interesting with McDaniel.
I think that's the shame though, is like Kyler is like, he's very injury prone too. So I'm not, like, in theory, I totally agree with you. I just think in actuality, he's not going to stay healthy running the ball. Yeah.
You got my gears turning with this Peyton getting traded to the Giants.
You called it all the way back to the middle of the episode here.
I think I would trade, if I were the Bengals, I would trade a first-round pick for Sean Payton. I think he's a culture changer.
Yeah. I mean,
but he's
making like top end coaching money, and Mike Brown doesn't pay anybody.
No, that's true. There's that. Do you think anybody loses their job before the end of the season now? I feel like I don't see a coach necessarily being fired before the end of the year.
I think Gannon's at risk.
Yeah,
just with
my guy, that's tough.
Yeah, kind of losing that room a little bit.
Explosives.
Shots.
I
think
maybe Raheem, but
I think the
injury
loves
now
Raheem, and I think he would at least give him to the end of the year. And honestly, you know what? Like, I don't think you put on here like the Bryce Young question, just like, do we owe him an apology? I think we were pretty effusive about like him coming back and playing well at the end of last year. I think we owe Dave Canales maybe a little bit more love.
I think that's fair. Squeezing out 6 wins, I'm impressed with that.
They have some good wins. I mean, they beat the Bills, they beat Cowboys.
They have some good pieces too. I think like with Coker coming back, and
that Niners game on Monday night is not a gimme against it's in San Francisco, but it's not a gimme. I mean, they have a good defense, really good defense. I think that's what makes them a challenge to play against.
Yeah. I'll give Canales an apology. I don't think I owe one to Bryce. I'm still not, for being the number 1 overall. Not quite there for me.
I don't think there is another coach fired this year. I think that, if anything, if next season goes poorly, I think Gannon is probably.
Wait, you're saying like Black Monday? You don't think anybody is getting fired?
I mean, I just don't know. I don't see who it would be. I mean, just thinking off the top of my head. I mean,
I think we're going to see a number.
There's nobody else in the NFC East. The Giants already fired their coach. DQ's safe.
Kellen Moore is not. Like,
there's nobody else in the NFC North,
just because
I would say if the Packers miss the playoffs,
you think
LaFleur? I think LaFleur probably goes.
And then you've got NFC South. Like Kellen Moore, I think has another year. Like I think they hired him with the expectation of, hey, this is a 3 or 4 year rebuild here.
You might say D'Amico just because of how strong, but it's like that's also just been one of those franchises with a weird construction. With with Stroud has underperformed. They with zero O line. It's a puzzling construction on the offense there. I mean, they have weapons, but it's like they feel like they've underperformed in the regular season, and they get into the playoffs and they play well, or they make a run. But
I think
You know,
Peter Carroll
here's one.
has too much
Here's one.
pride to hang it up after 1 year.
I think Peter Carroll, and maybe the other one that I think is a possibility might be DQ. Like Dan Quinn could definitely be a possibility if that team flattens. But
Do you think Cliff gets a head coaching job? Cliff with a K?
dude, I've always thought Cliff has been overrated. I mean, that offense is so uninspiring this year. Like, I don't know. It seemed like he had one year where last year, obviously, they were with Jaden Koji's hates my take, but
Koji's not a Cliff guy either. Koji with a K.
Do you think Mike McD has done enough to save his job?
I think he has, man.
I think he has, yeah.
I think
if they had slid, then maybe he's gone. But I think because they've beat the Bills, they come back and kind of had this a little bit, winning that game in Spain.
I think one of McDaniel or I think Mike McD, Stefanski, Zach Taylor, like one of those three is going to get fired. I feel like probably.
I think Stefanski's like so uninspiring to me, and then Gannon, I think is like he's been kind of dealt a bad hand. I don't think he's like a bad coach, but I just don't know if it's like I don't know if he was the right call. I think that Eagles team had with Sirianni or Steichen and Gannon, they got a lot of burn, but it's like Gannon what he does is interesting, but it hasn't proven to be anything special. So I just think like I don't know what's going on in Arizona. I'm glad that they're not good because it's nice to not have like three teams in your division that are super, super competitive. It's nice to have one team that you can kind of get over. But
what do you guys think that it seems like the Lions do have like an offensive coordinator problem? Obviously, the guy that slid into the role is not calling plays anymore, and Dan Campbell's back to calling plays. Like, what do you think he needs to do end of the year to right that ship? Like, bring in like a Brian Dable type or a Kafka type? Like, I think Dable's a good offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I also would say I think it depends. I'm going to take a cop out because I don't know. I still do believe in the Lions. So if they finish really strong and have a good run in the playoffs, like maybe you don't need to do anything necessarily.
I just don't think Dan Campbell needs to be the one calling the plays. From like,
I think they're saying that it's like a team thing where there's like three guys calling plays now or something like that. Where it's like Dan Campbell's making the final decision but it's like a combined effort type deal. Maybe one of them's calling the run plays, the other one's calling pass plays. Like, I think they sometimes break it up.
Calling plays. If three guys are calling plays. Is anybody calling?
Maybe it's AI.
No, that's illegal. You can't have the computers involved in game.
Really?
Yeah.
Sick. I didn't even know that.
All right, boys. I say we leave it here. We've crested the 2-hour mark. This was a fun afternoon of talking
Randy,
ball.
Right now, before last question to leave you with, before this next stretch for the Bengals, is Zach Taylor the head coach in Cincinnati week 1 next year?
I think I think he is, and that's purely because Mike Brown is the most loyal person to a fault. I do. Yeah. I could see him not really making any changes.
Is Al Golden still there?
I think Al Golden will be there. Yeah.
Yikes.
I know. I guess I'd be surprised if they make any real changes.
Wow.
For better or worse.
That rules.
Yeah. All right, boys. I think next week, stay tuned. Not sure exactly what we'll have on store in the trap draw. BallKnowers will be back at some point near the end of the season. Mr. Poosh, thank you. Say hi to the lovely family. TC, thank you as always. Boys, this was a pleasure.
Crack on.
Thanks, boys.
FanDuel must be 21 and older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.